Great. सो नॉर्मली कसं असतं, एकदा रोहित शर्मा आणि विराट कोहली मस्त बॅटिंग करून गेले आणि मॅच जिंकायला आली की शिवम दुबेला वगैरे पाठवतात. सो दॅट्स अ आय फील. सो वेन आय वॉकड इन, I realize there is nothing much to lose, you know. So when you are in that situation, you get little philosophical, which is how I'm feeling right now. So I actually want to start with a small bit of activity. You know, we have discussed what got you here won't get you there. But this is what I used to do when I used to run a well-being curriculum for kids. And we did this activity with kids, but I think it will work with adults. You know, so we are just going to think about 3 questions, maybe take a couple of minutes, okay? So the first question I want to think about, and maybe close your eyes, it will help you think clearly, is if I were to come to you and ask you, who are you? Why don't you introduce you to me? Just think about 3 or 4 questions that will come to your mind. 3 or 4 sentences, you know. So let us take like 10-15 seconds, think about 3-4 sentences that come to your mind. Who are you? You are introducing yourself to Bhagwe sir or me or anybody else. What are those 3 or 4 sentences? Okay. If you were to ask me who are you, I would say, hey, I am Aditya. I did my engineering from BITS Pilani. I did my MBA from IIM Bangalore. And I built a couple of companies. One of them was called Learning Outcomes, the other was called Baby on Board, and I'm building something new. Now, if you have your answer to who are you, let us move to the next question, which is, who am I? Now, you're not introducing yourself to someone else. You're talking to yourself. Who am I? And then again, think about 3 or 4 sentences that come to your mind. Maybe close your eyes. It will help you think more clearly, especially this question. You will see that who are you and who am I are some distance apart. So when I think who am I think, hey, I'm a husband. I get angry a lot, you know. A lot of different thoughts from who are you, not defined by my degrees, diplomas, what I've done. Now, if you have answer to the second question as well, let us think about the third question. Who do I want to be? And maybe again 3-4 sentences that come to your mind. And I think people my age, or maybe who are, you know, less than 40, all of us are struggling with these 3 questions. For some of us, this is a linear line and, you know, it is perfectly aligned and all that. For some of us, it is like a triangle. Where I am, who am I, and where I want to be, and, you know, who are you? These are entirely 3 different really answers, because I'm an engineer, but I want to be a chef or whatever that is. And I think I will try to answer how I sort of figured out this journey, you know. So the first thing, I mean, I did my engineering and, you know, basically chilled out for 4 years, got out of school, joined my first job, watched a lot of YouTube, read all blogs, got bored in 6 months, thought this job is not for me. And then one day, I was in Bangalore, I read an article that Bishop Cotton School, one of the best schools in Bangalore, 300 seats, 4,000 parent applications, parents are waiting in line overnight. I thought, hey, there are 300 seats, 4,000 parents have applied. That means on an average, a parent is applying to, let's say, 6 to 10 schools. And they're spending 6 to 10 days standing in line trying to get the school application form. Seems like a good business. If I build a platform where they make an application once, I integrate with schools, and yeah, I mean, at a click of a button, they basically can apply to 6 to 10 schools. I can capture some value for myself. It will be a great thing for parents. And yeah, so I resigned from Juniper Networks, which was my job, first job. And I came to Nasik and spent the next 3 months doing nothing. So the first, I think one of the values of TLC was walk the talk. And I look at it very differently. And this is a conversation I have had with my dad. So he used to call me a Zambudwala at, you know, that period of life. Which is, तुम्ही एका जांभळाच्या झाडाखाली पोहोचलेले आहात, भरपूर जांभळं आहेत झाडावर, पण तुम्ही खाली आरामात पडलेले आहात आणि विचार करतात की माझ्या तोंडात जांभूळ कधी पडेल. And I think walk the talk is really, don't be a Zambudwala. That was my first lesson. You know, I wasted 3 months of life, but it was a lesson again in philosophy, what not to do. So it did not work out. I joined a job in Pune. I worked there for 12 months. We almost for that 1 year, I worked from 11 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the night. Very brutal in a way. But I made great friends of my co-workers. And I think a lot of people and a lot of you will have questions. When we start, how do I really build the team, right? Because sometimes you are jamming ideas with your friends and you want to have your friends as your co-founders or early team members. And oftentimes what I have learned is friends don't make great co-founders, but your work colleagues, people you have worked with, have a working relationship, they will often be the best co-founders that you will have. Because when the things really get tough, right, you fight like friends and you don't fight like co-founders. So that was my second lesson, working at ZS, and that is how I actually got into entrepreneurship, because I met some wonderful people at ZS, and one of them went on to become my co-founder for the first actual business that I built. So again, ZS was a great journey, made a lot of friends, and then joined IIM Bangalore. I was there for 2 years. Now, one of the things I'm really proud about, and which I often don't see MBAs typically sticking to, is the SOP, or Statement of Purpose, that I wrote for IIM Bangalore. I have spent the next 10 years working on that same SOP. So my work has never changed or, moved away from the SOP that I wrote. And I think if you spend really good time doing deep work in one particular field, you will ultimately get to a point, right, where you will have a vision, but you will also see a path to that vision. IMB was great. I got out of IMB, and while I was in IMB, second year, we started a company called Learning Outcomes. When I joined the company, I had zero revenue, just got off IIM, and I think Vaibhav talked beautifully about, losing your ego. You get out of IIM Bangalore, you think you're God's gift to mankind, your ego is super high, and then you go to school and wait outside principal's cabins for hours. So it was a great killer of telling me, just like the walk down here, how it told me that I'm a nobody. The sales experience that I had getting out of IIM and spending next 3 years waiting outside principal's cabins in schools was a great experience. Now, one of the things with learning outcomes was we made a lot of mistakes. One, we started with a lot of idealism. We wanted to change the school system. We wanted to change the assessment system. We wanted to change the grading system. And never really thought about, do schools want it? We found some believers, early believers, no, and that was actually bad for us. Because we went on for next 2 years without realizing that what we are building, even though it makes sense in an ideal world, nobody actually wants it at scale. So that was my first lesson in scale, which is you need to think about scale right from day one, and that is what differentiates startups from traditional businesses. If you're not growing 10% a month, you are not a startup. And it is perfectly fine to be a business, a traditional business, right? You can create wealth using a traditional business. But startup is essentially only about two things. One, growth. You want to grow very rapidly. Second, risk. Because with every startup, you are essentially taking a risk. And as an entrepreneur, what you are trying to do is spread that risk. And when I say spread that risk, how does it work? So one is, I will get a co-founding team and I will ask them to work for no salary. You have spread your risk. I'm not spending any money out of my pocket. There are now these brilliant minds who are willing to work with me. So your first set of employees or the core team, you have spread the risk. Second, you go to an angel investor or a venture fund, you get them to invest money in your vision, you have again spread the risk. So startup is really about these two things, risks and growth. And having learned that, while doing learning outcomes, I forgot it completely and started another company after so we were also fortunate enough, and I just want to briefly touch this. So learning outcomes, we were two people, we had one person who was working remotely, we had never met her. And we were pitching to Goa government liked our product, but the buying did not happen. But while we were pitching there, some of the people who were very senior to us, they saw that these 25-year-olds with black hair are able to position themselves as education experts and are able to convince a government to actually buy our product. So they ended up buying the company. We made some decent amount of money. I got out of learning outcomes, started thinking what to build next. Now all the lessons that I had learned in learning outcomes, one lesson I had not learned was building a B2B business is very different from building a B2C business. Learning outcomes, which was a B2B business, we ran it for 3 years, we took it to some revenue, we sold the company, and for some reason I thought I am an expert at building a B2C business. So that's how I started Baby on Board, which was a milestone tracker for early years. So our idea was, typically there are about 2 milestones for kids aged 0 to 3, and for each milestone you will have a photo. Your kid starts walking, your kid starts crawling, says the first few words. For every moment you will have a photo or a video. So our idea was we will build an app which will just look at photos and videos and can say whether your child is growing or the development milestones are getting, are they on track. And if we see that they are not on track, we will sell a consultation service or something like that. Once we started, in the time that we thought of the idea and we launched our product, 7 or 8 similar companies were in the same space. And this is 6 months, right? This is not like we took forever to build the product. Between our ideation to our app going live, right? There were 6 or 7 other competitors doing the same thing that we are doing. And that is another tricky part of today's economy. I mean, you can have a great idea and you start building towards it, but the time you thought about the idea and you launched, there is so much that changes in that time. So it is very essential that you think about your distribution growth strategy even before you launch. In Baby on Board's case, we first thought, hey, these are the features our users would love. Let us launch it and then figure out how we are going to grow. Again, we were fortunate enough, we got to 50,000 downloads, 50,000 active users in about 12 months. We realized we don't really have a business model because of the 50,000 users, almost 49,000 users were hitting their development milestones on track. So there was really no scope for us to sell an intervention. Again, got fortunate because another company wanted to buy us out because of the team. So these are if you see, these are entirely 2 different aspects of getting acquired. The first was we had a real product, we had revenues, we were growing. Whereas the second, we got acquired because we had built an excellent team. So when I got out of Baby on Board was acquired by a company called Roundglass. I was there for last couple of years. And at Roundglass, again I got into the school space, which was in learning outcomes, the mistakes we had made, I knew those mistakes. So at Roundglass, we built a well-being curriculum for schools. But this time, my growth strategy I had already thought of. So instead of trying to go to school and selling to principals, we just invited principals for a well-being session at our place, at our office, give them a nice 2-hour, 3-hour experience of personal well-being and said, the personal well-being that you got, your children also deserve, so why don't you sort of go ahead with our curriculum. For learning outcomes, it took us 2.5 years to get to 10 paying schools. In Roundglass, we got to 40 paying schools within 6 months of our launch. So this is essentially if you see what I'm trying to say, is growth and risk. These are the 2 things that you have to start thinking about even before you think, hey, I'm going to do a startup, right? Now I'm building 3rd company, it is called Questo. It is a life coaching platform for teenagers. And even before I have started building out, I have my go-to-market strategy in place. I have my product plan, product roadmap in place. I have my distribution strategies, my partnerships. Everything is being done even before we are launching the product, right? So there is a broader framework. So what I'm telling you is nothing new in a sense that this is very well known across startup circles. When you're thinking of a new idea of doing something different, there are really, 6 or 7 questions that you need answer for. So first is the market deep enough? Which is, where I'm going, is it a $1 billion industry? Is it a, $10 billion industry? कारण गुडघ्याभर पाण्यामध्ये स्विमिंग करता येत नाही, right? So you need waters to be really deep. So that is the first question you have to answer. That the market that I have thought about, is it deep enough? If the answer is no, and even if you have a brilliant product idea, it doesn't matter. Because if market is not there, it doesn't matter how brilliant your product solution is. So first question, is the market deep enough? Second, what is the problem that I'm trying to solve? And a problem has to be really a need. It cannot be a want. So need versus want, if you get the difference, right? Something that people really need. What Kunal Shah of Freecha says is Delta 4. That on a scale of 10, if people have an experience with a particular service of 2 or 3, and what you're building doesn't get that to a 6 or 7, your product will not scale. So are you making that Delta 4 difference where, people or consumers or businesses have certain sort of experience and you are improving it by at least 4 degrees of in some ways on a scale of 10 or whatever. So the second is your problem really in place? And I think the best test for a problem statement is what we call as mom's test. If you can't explain the problem to your mom, you have not really gotten to the core of the problem. So keep iterating until you get to that one-liner which your mom can understand. So market is there, now you have defined the problem, now you will think of solution, right? Don't try to find a problem for the solution you have in mind. Find a solution to the problem that exists. These are all my learnings and all these mistakes that I've done in learning outcomes and Baby on Board, right? So once you have understood the market, you have understood what the problem I'm trying to solve, then you get to solution. And solution really doesn't matter because it will change over time. If you're building a product as a solution, it will change over time. If you're building a service, your operational model will change over time. What matters is the next, which is what is your distribution strategy? What is your growth strategy, right? So for Questo, one of my growth strategies was to make parents aware, which is what I'm doing right now, right? Because I see in the audience a lot of parents. So I'm thinking, hey, how do I grow my business? So creating awareness is one of my growth strategies. My second growth strategy is the service itself. Traditional business sense, what we say is having great customer centricity or great customer support, right? Every user is actually your network. He's not a user in a startup sense. So the ripple effect, I saw that was another keyword that is there in TLC values, right? Every user has to become your network. He's not really a user unless you turn him into an evangelist for what you're building. So your go-to-market strategy has to be in place even before you start building and go live. And then there are a few more other things. What is your founding team? That is, the next question, right? Don't start building something unless you can do it yourself. If you are thinking, hey, I have a great idea, but I will hire people to build this because I don't have skills to build it, that is not how you do startup. If you're building something, you really need to have, or you as in your founding team, really needs to have skill to build that product. Because, if you see a traditional industry, you go to an industry and you say, hey, there are 1,000 people working here, and such a beautiful factory, and all that is great for a sort of enterprise or a business or an institution. But when you look at a startup, you should really feel, hey, these 5 guys built this, right? So the idea is to reduce number of people working for you. Then use technology, internet, whatever it is for distribution to really scale. And that was the topic of my topic of today's sort of this session, right? Which was building to scale. If you're not scaling too fast, you are failing. So really the mantra of a startup is either scale or fail. And if you're failing, fail forward. It doesn't matter if you fail, right? You did everything, you created a distribution strategy, You did everything that I said and you launched and you failed. It doesn't matter as long as you're failing forward or failing fast. What do I mean by failing forward? Essentially, ठेच लागली आहे पण मला परत पुढे चालत राहायचं आहे, which is what I am also doing with having built learning outcomes, Baby on Board and now Questo, is all those were failures in certain ways, but they taught me something. And the idea is to keep building on those failures. So that is really everything that I had to say about, the framework so market, product, solution, go-to-market strategy, founding team. If you have these 5 slides, so as to say, or the deck ready and everything is convincing, right? Then, yeah, I mean, you have a great chance of succeeding. And when I say great chance, it all means 2% or whatever, 5%. So few of the things that have really helped me, and I'm talking from a perspective of people who want to start, is one, I got back to writing, right? So all these things, unless you start writing about it, unless you start talking about it passionately, it is not going to help. So do write down, what is going to be my distribution strategy? What is going to be my product features? What is my product roadmap? So if you're not writing with hand on a computer, it is very difficult to keep track, because बऱ्याच वेळा असं होतं ना की मी आज हा विचार केला, त्याच्यानंतर मी झोपी गेलो आणि दुसऱ्या दिवशी मला अजून एक छान आयडिया आली आणि प्रत्येक दिवशी मला एक नवीन छान आयडिया येत राहते. And then basically you become a Jambulwala, which is, you're thinking ideas, but you're really not building anything. So it is very important that you start writing answers to all these questions. What is the market I am in? It is also very important to define the market you're in. I want to give you an example of a traditional industry which got disrupted, which is mattress industry, right? If you look at mattresses, it is something that you go to a nearby store and buy. Now the manufacturing cost of a mattress is only about 20-25% of the retail price. So the startups in US, when they came and they say, hey, this can be manufactured for whatever, $25, but this thing is selling for $100. And why should that be the case? So what I will do is I will build an online brand of mattress. I will manufacture the same thing for $25 and I will sell it online for $50. Now that whole industry is getting disrupted because somebody has thought about growth and distribution in a very different way. And that is going to happen to a lot of industries. Wherever there are middlemen, if there is a way internet can create distribution in an entirely different way, all those industries will get disrupted. Even the school and education, which is very similar to traditional manufacturing in terms of the rate at which it changes. Even the schools are going to be disrupted. And this is the vision that I see, that there are going to be micro schools, smaller schools, children are going to spend a lot of time online learning, and that is where towards what I'm building. So yeah, this is my learning. I hope it was useful. And the final point I want to make is, for all you know, I can be talking random bullshit, right? So just figure out what is applicable to you. It doesn't matter whatever I learned is applicable to you, because again, every journey is different, every company is different, every industry is different. So just pick out what is right for you. There are 1 or 2 places I would suggest, especially for those who are thinking of starting something. So there is something called as a startup school by Y Combinator. You can just go online and do that course. It is free. So that is something that I would suggest anybody who is thinking of a new business, new ways of distribution. Y Combinator has funded every possible company that you know of. So they have something called as a startup school. Just go there. The process that I talked about, it's not my own. This is what everybody has learned over the years. So yeah, I think that was hopeful. So we can open up for Q&A, Harsh. I think that will be better, so that I can address what is very specific to yeah, we can go. No, it's okay.
We already have certain questions for you.
Yeah.
Then I think we'll ask the TLGs after that. Now, basically, Arpan Bagitla, you had two wonderful options in front of you. First, after doing post-graduation from IIM Bangalore, I'm sure you had a lot of placement offers as well, right?
So one of the things I did at IIM Bangalore was as soon as I joined IIM Bangalore, I signed out of placements. And it's a beautiful experience if you just step out of the rat race, right? And this peer pressure thing everybody faces, right? So even within TLC community, I'm sure you will be saying, hey, he's doing that, maybe I should be doing something like that and all that. So one of the first things that I did when I joined IIM Bangalore was I signed out of a placement process, and then I saw how other people are sort of scrambling for jobs. So yeah.
Your father also had a very roaring business. You never thought of coming and joining him and getting into the second entrepreneurship seat?
So it's more like an insurance policy, right? So I talked about I talked about risk, right? So what we are trying to do, and this is, so Ajinkya, who is my younger brother, he's also building something. And he's at a much higher risk than what I am building. And so we have actually 3 companies at different risk points. So there is one traditional business where, we see there isn't a risk as much as, we obviously need to innovate and all those things. Then there is another business which I am building, which is in the middle, which is still, low, I would say medium risk. And then there is the younger one who is building the ultimate high risk thing. Yeah.
Seems like more like a mutual fund than...
yeah. So I think, that's the closest.
Okay, one big question we had, see, you spoke about you have to understand how deep the what is. I understand you talk about market at that time. How do you do the research? Like, does this really have good scope or future?
So see, you're talking about market research, right? So one of the things I think is really key is if you're not passionate about a particular market or a particular industry, it is very difficult to sort of build a company, because there are going to be times where you feel that, I probably should kill myself. And because why am I doing this and things like that. And then you hit those points. In fact, this is very interesting. We had decided to shut down Baby on Board. And I was thinking to myself, hey, I have wasted 1.5 years of my life. And, what was I thinking? Because all the lessons that we learned, you would expect an IIM Bangalore graduate to think about these questions before starting to build a business. So, 1.5 saal baad, there was this low self-esteem, and I thought, I'm not getting out. We spent 2-3 months trying to sort of pivot and all that. Nothing was working. We had taken angel investment money, so that was, a lot of those people had put in money because they thought they're putting money in Aditya, not on Baby on Board. So you hit those low esteem points, and I just thought, this is good time to sort of step away. And I went to do Vipassana. So I did Vipassana for 10 days. Again, there also I was thinking, what was I doing, all of this. And when I came out of Baby on Board, we actually had an acquisition offer. So luck also works in different way. If we had not kept pushing for those 2-3 months, where, that we need to keep going on, let us figure out something. And my team was really supportive. A lot of them went without salaries for those 2-3 months. So yeah, I think one, you have to be passionate about market. Second, you should do market research, but market research doesn't always tell you the right things. And the best example is the parent, right? If you tell a parent, hey, this is what I'm going to do with your child, and this is how he will benefit, which happened in Baby on Board's case also. They said, hey, great, this is, amazing. What we realized after launching Baby on Board is even my closest friend is not downloading my app. The same guy who was saying, hey, you should build this and this is going to be wonderful. That person is not downloading an app, and after sending 5 reminders, you also think, maybe I shouldn't care about his kid as much, right? So, but yeah, so market research can also sort of misguide you in terms of, they often say that people don't say what they are thinking, and people don't do what they are saying. So that is the risk of market research. But yeah, it is essential to think, talking to users is the only way you can do, what I was talking about, the problem statement, getting it so compact that your mom can understand it. that can only happen through market, I would say user research, not market research, which is talking to hundreds of your users. Yeah.
So, coming to, startups, or even we have TLC ideas today. Initially, when we talk about ideas, the concentration is very high. The number of people participating is very high. But eventually, when it comes to terms with doing, the number goes down. So when ideas सगळ्यांकडे आहेत, पण सुरुवात कुठनं करायची? Is it just go to the market or build a good product or a service, or you just have a different path altogether?
So I think this framework, right, which is if you have an idea or if you think there is something that I want to build, the first thing is to see, as I said, is there a deep enough market for it? Because there are a lot of great ideas, right? But those not necessarily make great startups. I would give you the best example. So milk delivery. If you see, 2 years back, milk tech, as they called it, was a very hot thing in Bangalore, where the guy who is coming to deliver your milk will also deliver your sabzis, will also deliver some atta, rice, all of that. Now, it's a very sexy, I mean, I still use it because it solves my problem, but nobody wants to pay for it. Now, what was supposed to be the next billion-dollar opportunity, I mean, all those startups are struggling today for the simple reason that market, I don't think, is deep enough for people who want to order milk online. So, yeah, that's how. So, idea ka pehle market dekho, then see if the problem has juice, and whatever solution you're building, is it differentiated enough where you can sort of, if there is competition, if there is a player who is funded better than you, how are you going to cope up against that? Yeah.
Aditya, you have had almost 3 companies to your bag. Now, you and your co-founders probably share the same passion for the vision for the product. कि हा product असा चालायला पाहिजे, असं व्हायला पाहिजे. How do you really downgrade that to your team or the second line, or basically even if your team is small, letting them know कि ठीक है, this is going to be the future? How does it happen?
I think that is where writing down the thoughts is really important, because if you are writing a foundational essay, so as to say, a foundational vision, this is going to be key aspects of how we are going to build this. And these are the values that we are going to live by, right? So for example, when I started thinking about how I'm going to build Questo, the first value that came to my mind was freedom, that I am building this so as to allow teachers freedom to teach what they want to teach and allow freedom to students to learn what they want to learn. And can I create a marketplace where this connection or this teaching learning community, so as to say, can evolve, right? So that was one value. Now, if any feature or any way I'm building, if it goes against restoring this freedom, I won't do it. So I think writing down your ideas, right, and discussing it with your co-founders, your core team, and figuring out so that you have a document even before you start building and all of that. And whenever there is a conflict, there is something, you can refer back to that document or whatever that is. I mean, that is how I would approach it.
Now, on the list, we have the last question. So, in the recent past, we have seen, especially with startups, the valuation is unrealistic. From
Right.
Flipkart to all the biggest startups we have in India also. That there's a lot of gap from a very conventional way of entrepreneurs building their own business over years and having that valuation, and startups doing in 3-4 years. So you think it's a bubble, or it's about to burst, or what's your take on that?
So valuation for startups, right? It's really like paper money. It doesn't matter. So for example, if I'm starting a company today and I say, hey, my pre-money valuation is $2 million, it is just in my head. Nobody thinks the company is worth $2 million or something like that. But it is also about storytelling, which is you feel you are worth something and you are able to convince, I mean, it's really a matter of who is the bigger fool in the room, right? So, yeah, I would put it that way, yeah.
All right, with that, the questions are open. Konala kai prashna astil, please.
Hello, Aditya.
Hi.
I've heard pitching to the investors is a tough cause,
Right,
what we call as sharks.
right.
Have you gone through any such tough experience where the investors refuse you? I believe that's a big dent on your self-esteem. And how did you come up through that?
Yeah, so for both my companies, Learning Outcomes, we had raised a small round of 25 lakhs. For Baby on Board, I had raised about 70, 72 lakhs. And for Questo, I'm already raising about 3 CR. So I've gone through these funding cycles. And it happens, right? So for example, Learning Outcomes Time, one of the well-known VCs in India, we were introduced to him through a common friend of mine, a very good friend to him as well as us. And we sent out the deck, we went to the meeting, we opened our presentation and we said, hey, we are Learning Outcomes and we are a B2B edtech platform. He said, is this line correct? You're a B2B edtech platform? We said, yes. So he said, okay, I don't think there is something for us to discuss, and he walked out. So yeah, these things happen, but it's really, I mean, even with investors, if you meet 100, it's a typical sales process, right? It's just like selling anything. I mean, selling anything, I mean, not just, so you meet 100 people, 90 people will say, hey, what you're doing doesn't make sense, it's crap, all of that, but you just need to find those 10 people who believe you. Yeah.
हॅलो आदित्य, आय एम ऋषिकेश. मी TLC आयडिया लॅब्समधनं आत्ता ग्रॅज्युएट झालेलं आहे आणि मी पण स्टार्टअप स्पेसमध्ये आहे. एक म्हणजे स्टार्टअप्स किंवा याच्यामध्ये तू आता 2 कंपन्या सेल ऑफ केल्यास आणि ते करत असताना खूपशा गोष्टी येतात. तर ट्रॅडिशनल जे बिझनेसेस आहेत, आपण असा विचार नाही करत की आपण कंपनी टू कंपनी विकतो किंवा हे करतो, पण स्टार्टअप सेल होतात, हायर व्हॅल्युएशनला होतात. तर त्याबद्दल तू काही गाईड कर ना, की ते कसं होते प्रोसेस किंवा त्यामधले चॅलेंजेस काय असतात?
See, startup community is also very similar to, let me just think if this is the right. So this whole startup building and investing and valuation is like a caste system, I would compare. So unless you have some credentials to get in, right, this doesn't really work. I mean, if you go on LinkedIn also, you will find people complaining that, you know, only IIT, IIM graduates get funding and all of that. Now, the only way is you network, which is, there are a lot of events you go to, there are accelerators, incubators, you find out any which way through which you can get in. I mean, even now, it doesn't mean that just because I'm building third company, it is easy and everybody is waiting for me to come in and present and all that. I still have to go through the same struggle that I went through for my first company. So the only way I say is network, and network without expectations. A lot of times giving first helps, which is, you know, you might know someone who could be a great employee at another startup. So you reach out to that founder and say, hey, I saw that you have posted this on LinkedIn. I have a candidate that I know who could be a great fit. So I would just like to connect you. Now you have built one connection. So even with users, it is the same thing, right? So as I said, treat your users as sort of your network. So yeah, network is the answer, and that's how you will find opportunities where people will come in and say, hey, I want to buy you out, or why don't you come and work for me, and things like that.
We'll have last 2 questions. One second.
Yeah, one question is, when you got in investors, was it a scene that the investors were driving you in a different direction rather than where you wanted to go? And was that a fear when you accepted investments?
No, not really, because the good investors actually don't care about, you know, day-to-day operational things.
So how do you
If somebody-
differentiate between good and bad?
So if somebody is asking you the wrong question, so for example, I'm building a company today where I have 0 users, and somebody is asking me question, how will you get to, let's say, 100K users or 1 million users? That person clearly doesn't understand where I am. Person who is asking me, how will you get to 100 users or 1,000 users, knows my business much better than somebody who is asking me, you know, how will you get to million users?
And were your investors also mentoring you?
So I would say typically have a mentor who is not an investor.
Great.
Because the moment somebody puts in money, right, his mindset changes. So he's looking at you as some sort of सोन्याचे अंडे देणारी कोंबडी, right? And then you feed that kombdi very differently than if you're just caring because you care for pets. So yeah, that's the difference in mindset, I would say. Yeah.
Hi, Aditya,
Yeah.
Ruturaj here.
Yeah.
सो मी पण एक फाउंडर आहे, माझी
अच्छा.
टेक कंपनी आहे.
हां.
आय हॅव बिल्ट अ प्रोडक्ट. भरपूर पिचेस केले मी, वी कुड रेज फंड्स ऑल्सो. आता तुझ्याच ह्याच्यात एक क्वेश्चन हे देतो, कास्ट सिस्टमवर आय कुड कनेक्ट विथ दॅट. डू यू थिंक दिस आय एम बॅनर इज गिविंग यू अ हायर कास्ट दॅन द जनरिक बाकीचे लोक? इज दॅट बॅनर गिविंग यू अ प्रेफरन्स इन युअर?
It is a privilege.
बाकी लोकांना थोडासा स्ट्रगल जास्त आहे, काहीच मिथ.
No, it's a privilege, I would agree, but it is also a disadvantage, right? So a lot of times, and I try to train myself to sort of stop relying on that brand. Because yes, it is a struggle for somebody who doesn't have the degree, but for somebody who has a degree, it is also possible that the person relies on degree too much over hard work. But from
It's
your-
kind of an added advantage.
Yeah.
It's kind of an added advantage.
Yes, it is an advantage, I would say, for somebody who is, yeah, I mean, I can't deny it. It is an advantage.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So what should an investor look in for to maximize his returns when he invests in a startup?
So the first point is market, whether you know the market as an investor. Second is team, right? Because a great team with crappy idea can still do something wonderful, but a mediocre or a poor team with even the greatest of idea cannot execute it. So those are really the two things. One is, do you know the market? Second is the team good enough to sort of execute in the long term? But I'm not an investor, so I wouldn't know. मैं तो ऐसे ही ज्ञान दे रहा हूँ. हाँ.
I think we'll stop with the question. Thank you so much, Aditya,
Yeah,
for your
sure.
time.
Thank you.
Aditya,